England's Dom Sibley made one of the slowest test centuries by an English batsman in the recent test match between Westindies and England. He made a century of 312 balls and it was invaluable. This got us thinking to research on which is the slowest test century ever, keeping in mind the balls taken and not the number of minutes they took to achieve the century. And you know what? Sibley did not even feature in this list. We don't have the exact statistics of older test matches, so we are making the list from 70s onwards. Welcome to Simbly Chumma. We are counting down the top 10 slowest centuries by balls. Let's get on with the list. Number 10, Tino Mawoyo, 327 balls. This Zimbabwean carried his bat through a marathon innings of 163 to help his team post 412 runs. His century came off 327 balls and eventually he reached 163 from 453 balls against Pakistan. Pakistan won the match by 7 wickets, but his gritty innings was well appreciated. Number 9, Chanderpaul, 336 balls. Both teams understood that the pitch was not suitable for a test match and to take 20 wickets to win a match. So they decided to bat through, as both teams ended up losing 9 wickets each and scored 1,142 runs together. India declared with 513 runs with 2 centuries, whereas West Indies declared their first innings after 629 runs in 248 overs with 3 centurions, one of whom was Chanderpaul. He scored his century in 336 balls and eventually he scored 136 in 510 balls. Many criticized the West Indian team's tactic to draw the match. Number 8, Nathan Astle, 341 balls. Yes, New Zealand lost the 4th wicket for 145 and they wanted to put on a big score against Zimbabwe. Astle decided to be the anchor as he scored the second slowest century by a New Zealander by reaching his century in 341 balls. Eventually, he finished with 141 runs in 408 balls. Ironically, Macmillan scored 142 runs in 200 fewer balls in the same innings. The match was a draw. Number 7, Mark Greatbatch, 341 balls. This was a spectacular century of patience and perseverance by Greatbatch. It was New Zealand versus Australia in Perth. His team was forced to follow on, and in the second innings, Greatbatch managed to showcase a masterclass batting performance to remain not out at 146 runs, facing 485 balls to draw the match. He reached his century in 341 balls. He won the Man of the Match award for that game. Number 6, Nasir Hussain, 343 balls. Hussain was the captain of the England team touring South Africa. It was the 3rd test and South Africa had already won a match and drawn the 2nd. So England was desperate for this test match to go well. Nasir Hussain decided to wear off the South Africans by scoring his century extremely slowly in 343 balls. He scored his next 46 runs in an additional 120 balls to help his team post 366 runs in 166 overs. South Africa was forced to follow on, but they came back to draw the match by playing the remaining 2 days completely, scoring 572 runs. Number 5, Samaraweera, 345 balls. Samaraweera was one of the best Sri Lankan batsmen, tailor-made for the longest format of the game. In 2003, in the 3rd decider test match against England, Samaraweera stood his ground to score one of the slowest centuries by a Sri Lankan, reaching his century in 345 deliveries. He eventually ended his innings at 142, facing 408 balls. Sri Lanka won the match by an innings and 215 runs. At 4th place, we have Jimmy Adams, 365 balls. We have told you before how Jimmy Adams was such a versatile cricketer and he was such a big asset to West Indies. He played down the order, up the order, bowled some spin and even kept wickets in need. After his team's top order collapsed after Zimbabwe posted 308 runs, he took control and scored an epic 365 ball century. He pushed his team's total past Zimbabwe's by 31 runs. Eventually, West Indies won that match by 10 wickets. Number 3. Clive Radley, 396 balls. Clive Radley was a legend in first-class cricket, but he was able to play only 8 matches for his country in which he scored 481 runs at an average of 48.10. In a 3-match series against New Zealand in 1978, it was the third decider, with both teams winning 1 game each. New Zealand scored 315 runs in the first innings, and England, with the help of Radley, scored 429 runs in 156 overs, thanks to his epic 158 from 524 balls. He reached his century in the 396th ball. The match was eventually drawn. Number 2. Sanjay Manjrekar, 397 balls. India toured Zimbabwe to play one test match in what was also the inaugural for the African nation in 1992. Zimbabwe reached an impressive 456 runs in their first innings at Harare. India was reeling at 101 for 5, and Sanjay Manjrekar showcased immense patience at the pitch. Even Zimbabwe were able to score their 456 runs in 214 overs. Sanjay Manjrekar reached his century in an epic 397 deliveries and helped India post a decent 307 runs in their 170 overs. The match was eventually drawn, but there was a lot of criticism on the way India batted in that match. Topping our list today at number 1, we have Mudassar Nazar, 419 balls. England toured Pakistan for 3 tests between 1977-78. It was the first test, and Pakistan declared their first innings at 407 for 9 in 133 overs. The opener Mudassar Nazar created a world record by scoring his century in 419 balls. He finished with 114 in 449 balls eventually. Even the English team found the pitch difficult as they reached 288 runs in 135 overs. Remember, in 1977, 1 over had 8 balls. No wonder the match ended up in a draw. What do you think of this list? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it informative, then please go ahead, hit the like button, share button, and subscribe to Simbly Chumma for more amazing and entertaining videos on cricket.